The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Hey, what's going on? You are tuned into the Real Black Coffee, no sugar, no cream, straight talk with Valerie. This is the third episode of our new season, and I'm glad to be back, but I'm not happy to still be talking about this topic, wrongful convictions. It saddens me and to the depths of my soul to know how many of our young black men have been enslaved by the criminal injustice system and had to spend so many years of their life behind bars for a crime that they did not commit, and still upon their release not be made whole. It's sickening, it's reprehensible, and it's a shame. So tonight, as we embark upon the third annual Wrongful Conviction Summit, I have with me the producer of the show, my warrior sister and my friend, Trisha Duckworth. Say what's up, Trisha?
What's up, Detroit? And everybody everywhere where you're watching and tuning in, we thank you all for being here with us for this show, which is a very hard, rough topic. But we just thank you all for being here because we understand that if we continue to share the information, we can gather more warriors into this fight. So thank you, Valerie, for sharing your platform with us for this very important topic.
It's my pleasure. The first person that we're going to bring up, let me back up a minute. I'm just almost choked to tears because I'm in here. I'm looking at the faces of these men. Handsome, young, fine, black men. And in order for things to change, we're going to have to stand up. Everybody. So that brings me to this song called Stand Up. So can you roll that clip for me, Marquise?
Where is she? Come on back, peaceful. Whoa, easy now.
I'm gonna be free or die.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna can feel it in my bones.
You have made it 100 miles to freedom. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Phantom.
Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. And you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on.
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
So as I was saying, we need to stand up. We need to take a stand. You don't have to wait until it's your son, your daughter, your husband for this to occur to take a stand. And I hope after you hear the stories of these young men that you will take a stand and make a difference. First up, we are going to give him the proper introduction. So I'm going to turn it over to Trisha so she can bring up our first young black king.
All right. What's up, Detroit? We're excited to have with us my new brother, my dear brother and friend, Ronell Johnson. What's up, Ronell?
What's up, world? What's up, Trisha, my dear friend as well. Glad you invited me on the show.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you on, man. I know it's been a whirlwind of events since you came home, and so let's just jump right in. When were you actually released?
Yeah, I actually got out on June 1st, 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fitting. Yeah, that was real fitting to get out on the 1st of June in the summertime, man.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. So walk us back to that day. What were your thoughts? I mean, did you have notice? Did you know you were coming out, or was it they sprung it on you, or?
Well, I visualized well, I had it lined up, but we never had an actual date.
Okay.
So I was in contact with the attorneys in the University of Michigan, and they were in contact with the prosecutor's office, and they were just telling me that things were, changing, and they were fluid. It was going from, maybe a month from now to, hey, maybe this week. And so it just snowballed so quickly. And before I knew it, I was going from one facility to another, and then that facility actually took me to the county jail, where I had a Zoom meeting with the judge and the prosecutor, and they dropped the charges. And I walked out of jail at 4 o'clock.
Wow.
At 4 o'clock on June 1st, 2022, yeah.
Wow, they dropped the charges. What a blessing. I remember seeing the TV, and I just seen the face of your daughter, Yeah. And just thought about, wow, how that impacted her life. Because a lot of people don't understand when you wrongly incarcerate somebody, that's not just an assault against an individual, it's an assault against the entire family. So what was that like for you in that moment, being reunited with your baby?
So it's a lot of anxiety, because all eyes is on the situation. Not only are you looking at her, she's looking at you, and everybody's looking at both of them. So it's like, you don't want to feel that you don't want it to be staged yet. You kind of want to have some sense of control. We surprised her. It was freestyle, but yet it was improv. So we surprised her at the restaurant, and we just was hoping that we were just hoping for just a real true moment, and that's what it was. Just a real true reunification of me and my daughter after being separated for 15 years. It's hard to put it into words.
Yeah, I can imagine. And just thank you, that you even shared that moment, with the world, with all of us. And it was just a beautiful sight to see. Valerie, you want to jump in and ask him about the case?
Yeah, so what was your conviction?
So I got charged with and convicted of armed robbery, conspiracy armed robbery, because it was four individuals who committed the crime, and I guess when there's more than one person in concert, and they determine that it's considered a conspiracy. So I got the one charge of armed robbery, along with the one charge of conspiracy to armed robbery, along with charge of felony firearm, because there was a firearm used in the case, and felon in possession of a firearm. These are different charges: felony firearm and crime, and felon in possession of a firearm, because I had a prior felony prior to these wrongful charges.
Wow. And how much time did you serve?
So when they served the warrant at my mom's house, kicked the door, and took me away, from that day I was gone for 15 years and maybe a month or so. However, I was already in some legal trouble, minor trouble, mind you, minor stuff. And even the felony that I mentioned, the felonies are all expunged now. These are minor felonies, non-violent felony, a couple of them with cars and having drugs, right? So therefore, the charges that they came with in this case were secondary to the charges that I was already kind of battling. So I actually, on this conviction, they clocked me at 14 years and some change, because the conviction didn't get handed down until March of 2008. But they actually took me away. They arrested me for this, but didn't have enough evidence in the beginning to actually bring the charges. So I went away on the, probation violations and the other little stuff I had pending. I went away for that stuff. They were able to scramble their stuff and game plan. They had me in custody, so they didn't have to worry about me fleeing. They was able to, confer with their people who, who they framed me. The people who framed me. They got together, got their story straight, got their game plan together, and then they brought the charges up while I was in custody, and not even in any way, shape, or form able to defend myself, really.
Wow. So they basically arrested you on a probation violation, and then just held you until they built this other case against you.
So not exactly. So they arrested me on the charges as if they got me, as if they had enough. They got a warrant from a judge, and they believed they had the credible evidence that I was the suspect. So they arrested me on that. However, after going through a preliminary, I went through a preliminary exam and a pretrial hearing. The judge did not feel. Well, they initially only charged me with the possession of the gun, because they found a gun at my mom's house. This gun was later not even linked at all in any way, shape, or form to this crime, but it was a similar style of gun, so they believed that was the actual weapon. So therefore, because they didn't actually have enough evidence to charge me with the robbery that they came to arrest me for, they just lodged me in the jail on the gun. However, when I went to the pretrial stage, the judge dismissed the gun charge because he determined that there was no way that they could say that gun was mine. It was in a house with multiple occupants in a room that was shared by me, a stepbrother, sister. They never established that the clothing bin that they found the gun in was whose clothes they were. They just, so the judge dismissed that, actually. And so at that point, there was no charges relating to that robbery whatsoever on me. I was in custody because I was a probation violator, and I had some pending charges, and they were going to send me to prison for 2 to 5 years was my maximum, a 2 to 5 year stay. So I initially pled guilty. I subsequently pled guilty to that and went to prison for a 2 to 5 year sentence in 2007 after being arrested for that crime. And then, after a month of being in there, I got right. They took me to the county jail. I went on a writ, rode to the county jail, and they arraigned me on these robbery charges.
Wow.
From prison. Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Thank you for.
If that makes sense.
It does not. It makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. It's really some straight bullshit, that they even had an opportunity. So it makes no sense at all. It's like nonsense, and
The
it's
judge
bullshit.
dismisses what they felt was their smoking gun, because this weapon was a revolver, and the man was attacked with a revolver. The only thing the man ever said that could have been connected to me in this case was I was attacked with a revolver, and that gun that they told him was found at my mother's house. He said that looks similar to the weapon that I was attacked with.
And they didn't run any ballistics or none of
Oh
that.
yeah,
They just.
Absolutely. No, they did. They took it to the lab, and it came back. It never had. The man was, severely pistol whipped with the gun. The coat that I had on that they said was the coat, and the gun that they believed was the gun was sent to the state of Michigan crime lab. Come back, there are no bodily fluids. They did Illuminati, they did everything on it, tested. Not only had the gun not been fired, it hadn't even had any bodily fluids on any blood on it whatsoever. It was absolutely a non-factor in the trial. It was just merely used to incriminate. It was merely used verbally to incriminate. It was just used, to inflame and to make it seem like, but it was never a part of any connection to guilt or anything like that. The judge actually, in his ruling, determined that he don't believe that the gun was involved in the crime, and he doesn't believe that it was mine. However, under the aiding and abetting theory, I'm guilty of all the gun charges because I was involved with the other co-conspirators. So that was a caveat that is very, very, it's funny, ain't it? The justice system got a way of playing those type of little pranks on you. You know what I mean? I may acknowledge that this probably isn't the gun, but you're still guilty.
Well, yeah,
Because
because
you
if
was
they
with them
show
other
it
guys
to a
that we don't have.
jury, if they show
Nobody
a
got
gun
caught
to
for
the
that.
jury, come on now, the jury can.
And I had a bench trial, mind you. I didn't have I had a
Okay.
bench.
Okay.
I had it in front of my trial judge, and he's smart enough to know better than that. That's called an inconsistent verdict. When you find somebody guilty without evidence to support your guilty finding, and you base it on conjecture, and you base it on a feeling, you base it on some type of he put in a little bit of religious stuff in there. He was talking about he put some stuff in that verdict, but yeah, them judges be having a lot of audacity.
They do. Well, I'm glad that you're home now, having an opportunity to be with your daughter and your family. What are your future plans?
I'm so versatile, so it's like, anything I put my mind to, I can do it. I came into my own understanding myself and my abilities while I was incarcerated, therefore in a place where I couldn't even utilize my skill set to anything. So I had to hold myself at bay and deal with people on a base level of we all in the hellhole. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. But my thing is I'm open to. I have certain, natural talents and natural gifts that I can always fall back on and go to. I'm a barber. I have so many different things I do as far as entertainment in the entertainment lane. Also with law, I'm very, very passionate about law and freeing a lot of those guys who I know are in there for things that they did not do. It's crazy because the prosecutors, a lot of time, the prosecutors or investigators, even they know, but for some reason are adhering to the system that we all acknowledge is it's on purpose broke. It's broken on purpose. It was never supposed to be fair.
That
So
part.
are we acting like if we saying we want fairness, then we can't operate with this system.
Yeah, that part.
Because we know that the system wasn't even set up for fair. It's adversarial. It's adversarial. So my plan is to go with the flow. I've been out for 100 and maybe 40 some days, maybe. And I have a lot of opportunities. People offering me jobs at the plant, barbershop jobs. I could go to school. What I don't want to do is sign up to work with somebody and then jump out the back door on them when another opportunity comes. I would hate to do that to somebody. So I kind of want to let my instinct guide me. I know what I like, and I know it's about timing. the thing that I want to do may not be for this time in my life. It may be for 10 years from now. I may be right now. I need to do who knows what. I'm waiting for it to come to me, guys. I don't exactly know.
Well, that's okay. You know, hey, when you get to do whatever you want to do after being told what to do all of those years, what time the lights go out, what time they come on, when you go to the shower, hey, you have earned the right to take your time and do what you want to do. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us on this first segment and the precursor to the Wrongful Conviction Summit coming up on Saturday. I hope I get to see you there again.
I'm sure you will.
Great. Thank you so much. And you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks so much, bro.
Thank you. Thank you, beautiful.
Wow, that was just heart-wrenching. And you heard it come straight from his mouth. How you can easily be incriminated.
Yeah.
I have said once, and I'm going to say it 1,000 times, that I'm thankful for the Conviction Integrity Unit to help bring Ronell and these other gentlemen that we have in the studio with us home. However, I feel like the integrity is misplaced. You need to be checking the integrity of your prosecutors.
On the front end.
You need to be checking the integrity of your judges. You need to be checking the integrity of your entire injustice system, especially in Wayne County under the auspice of Kim Unworthy. It's a lot of things that need to be checked. You're looking in the wrong place. Check your staff, check your office, check your system. But you know what? It's too hard for you to do that, because then you have to take accountability that you were wrong from the start. And you got too much pride to do that. There are cases right now that are pending, but because it will make your office look real bad, you're really not looking at those. You know, it's not about the easy cases. You need to look at those hard cases. You need to look at your peers. You need to look at your staff.
Everybody needs to look at themselves. That's the thing. Nobody's above rebuke or reproach. We all have the opportunity to grow and get better. So I don't understand why, accountability is not a bad thing. Everybody looks at it like it's so horrible. No, accountability is just saying, hey, I understand that somebody needs to hold us accountable for the things that we are doing. It's great. Yes, let people come home, but can we stop the inconsistencies of why people are going in? You got 48.9% of wrongful convictions that are due to prosecutorial misconduct. You got 21.9% of wrongful convictions that are due to misidentification. I mean, and the list goes on and on of so many things as why wrongful convictions are happening. So let's just focus on that so we can stop them. So it don't have to be 15 years, 16 years, because we can never give these people back the time that they lost. I don't even care if you compensate them. It still is never going to be enough.
Absolutely. And we have the whole school to prison pipeline thing going on. You just constantly feeding that system, that prison industrial complex. So much money is being made off of the thing. I get pissed off every time I have to renew my license plates for my 3 vehicles, and then you want to charge me close to $1,000, but you have people that are incarcerated making those license plates, and you're not giving them a dime hardly
15 cents here,
for doing
30
it.
cents there. Yeah, it's
You
ridiculous.
know, man, don't even get me
I know,
started
right?
on that, because I just get mad. But it makes no sense. It makes no sense. But we have more to share.
Yeah.
We appreciate Ronell, but now we're going to hear from our next young, handsome young man.
So it's handsome.
Handsome. Women, you want to know why you can't find a handsome man? They locking them up.
Oh,
I
Lord.
can't wait for... Marquise, shine that camera on Ken Nixon. Let them see what I'm talking about.
Ooh, the brothers. They go, my brothers.
Yes. I'm telling you, ladies. But don't come for them now. I'm sure they already spoken for, but I'm just saying. We want to now hear from our next young king who was a victim of the criminal injustice system. We would like to welcome to the show Ken Nixon.
Yeah, what's up, brother?
I guess I done put him on the spot. He over there looking like, oh, she done said all of this about me now. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, I'm good. I
Good.
appreciate you having me today.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming. I really do. And could you share a little bit about your case with us? What was your conviction?
In 2005, I was arrested, tried, and convicted of 2 counts of felony murder, 4 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of arson. There was a house fire where 2 children perished, and I was accused of starting that fire.
Wow. My. When were you released?
February 18th of 2021.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
What ran through your mind when they told you you were coming home?
Honestly, I was overwhelmed with emotions when they told me I was coming home. When you're in there, you fight so hard to get to that point, right? And you never really process the part of what happens when you finally get there. You spend so much time, effort, attention of your day focusing on proving that you didn't do it, that you never actually have an opportunity to process what I'm going to do when that moment comes. So when it did finally come, there was a little bit of everything: relief, pleasure, grief. You know, there was a lot of overwhelming emotion in that moment, to the point that I couldn't even talk. You know, when my lawyer told me that it was happening, I didn't even know what to say. I was just kind of stuck for a second. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I mean, like Ronell was saying, it went so fast, like he was just moved from one place to another and to another, and now, you know, like I'm kind of free, so it was just so fast. You probably prayed and hoped, you know, that day would come, and then when it's finally here, I can imagine, you know, tears of joy and laughter, and then staying away from everybody else so you don't get in no trouble, because you really ready to go. So it's like, I don't want to get in any trouble. Stay the heck away from me. Leave me isolated until it's my time.
Yeah. After I found out, I probably stayed in my room for like the next couple of days, like just reduced interaction with anybody, you know, minimizing any kind of trouble that could come my way as much as I possibly could. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. Like you definitely don't want to place yourself or nobody else in an unnecessary situation that, you know, could cause any unwanted problems at that point.
Because, you know, it's a lot of people in there who will be jealous of the fact that you did get your conviction overturned and you are on your way home and just want to start some just because of that. You know, so I can imagine wanting to stay away from everyone and just leave me. Did you share it with anyone, or you just kept it to yourself?
No, I think there were 2 people that I told. Like 99.9 people that were around me every day didn't know until I was walking out the door. Like literally, as I was walking out the door is when I told people.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I get it.
I don't know if I could have told them too. I wouldn't have been trusting nobody, but I get it. You know, you do want to share with someone, but that was amazing. So what have you been able to do since you've been home?
I've done a lot.
And the list goes on.
It certainly goes on. I've become a huge advocate for bringing awareness to wrongful convictions, injustice, systemic failures, reentry. I'm a college student now. This is my final semester, my freshman year of college. So I've been doing a lot. We've traveled the country. I've traveled in and out of the country, some for pleasure, most for work, but a lot of advocating, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's good. And you know, that's one thing I salute and respect Ronell and you and the other gentleman for, and your entire organization, because sometimes we break free of something and then we don't look back, or we don't reach back, or we don't want to help anybody else. You know, and I can say I'm guilty of that because I was raised in Inkster, and my mother always told me to get as far away from Inkster as you possibly can. And that's what I did, right? I never thought about until like the last couple of years of saying, hey, well, go back and help somebody else make it, right? So for you guys to be thinking that out the gate and helping other people who have been in your situation, I salute and respect that. You know, because you can say, hey, I'm free, good luck.
The hell with y'all.
Yeah, you can say good luck, but you're not. Ronell said, hey, you know, I know the law. I can help somebody else. You're saying to reach back and you're going to help someone else. And the young man that's sitting next to you, he's nodding in agreement. Paris, you know, not Paris. I'm looking at the wrong name. Eric. to reach back and help someone else.
Yeah.
And you realize something that in our community it is hard to do, that you are better together because
right.
you have organized this organization that all of you are a part of to utilize all of your strength and experience to come together and garner that support necessary to help other people.
Yes.
And that's one thing that we as Black people in the Black community, we need to take a page out of the Organization of Exonerees book. They're not pulling each other down. They're not fighting. They're not sneak dissing and backbiting or none of that. They come together and say, this is our goal. This is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it. And you see them in unison, in unity at events in the community, walking their talk. It's not that hard, people. It's not that hard. I'm sure they don't always agree, but it looks like to me they know how to agree to disagree because they still doing what they set out to do.
That part.
So you need to take a page out of their book and watch how these young men are moving together as one body, doing the work to help someone else. I call it that Harriet Tubman syndrome. I made it. Now let me go back and help somebody else make it because I know the way now. Yeah. I know how to help. You know, because there's so many things that you have went through, and I just feel like with the armed forces, incarceration, whatever it is, you have been conditioned a certain way during that time frame, and then they just drop you back on the street like, okay, you're free. You know, I'm speaking from the armed forces point of view because my father, my uncle, I'm from a military family, and then I had to see all of the trauma that they were living out before my eyes as a young child coming back from Vietnam, killing and have seen other people be killed, right? And they don't give you any type of support or anything when they release you. Yeah. So what was your experience like when they released you? You weren't offered any type of support or anything. You were just released.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, a huge part of why we formed the Organization of Exonerees was because we have that shared strife, right? It seems to most people, it seems to society that we've made it, right? We've crossed that hurdle, but in reality, most of us are still suffering. Most of us are still learning what society is like. We communicate on a different level. You know, our pain is different from most people because nobody understands, you know, the level of pain that we had to endure to make it to the other side of that wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that level of bloodshed, that level of violence, that level of, you almost have to become something that you're not in order to survive on that side. Yeah. So to get to this side, not everybody comes home whole. Not everybody comes home mentally stable. Not everybody comes home and can make proper decisions in order, you know, on the most basic level, feed themselves, right? There's so many choices in society now. You don't get that level of choices when you're inside. There's 3 different flavor of chips. There's 4 different choices of noodles, right? You walk into the gas station, there's 50 different bags of chips now. So there, you have to grow into what society calls normal. We know that all too well. So when the next guy comes home, we can speak to it from a place of comfort because we know what he's about to experience. Right? It's different coming from me than it is from you because you're going to get impatient and be like, yo, just pick something, let's go. And for me, it's a whole nother conversation. Like, listen, I get it. Chill, calm down. Let's just figure out what you like. You know, that's a totally different thing. And majority of society doesn't understand that. So our unity comes from a place of necessity.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. You said a mouthful. When I do a cultural competency diversity training, is about the Lost Boys. And they're from Africa, and they get on a plane to come to the United States. Nobody ever talked to them even about the plane ride. So they ate pats of butter like food because they didn't want to be disrespectful. Like, okay, you know, in our culture, if someone gives you something to eat, you eat it. But no one explained, like, well, this is butter, and you spread it on your bread. You don't just eat that by itself. So later on, they were talking about it like, what is this? You know, what is this, soap? But we ate it because they gave it to us, right? So I appreciate you saying, you know, because something simplistic as going to the gas station and getting some chips. Like you said, I would never think about that being an overwhelming decision. Like, wow, it's 75 bags, you know, to choose from. I would not think about that.
Right, yeah.
So that is amazing that, and deep, you know, to really, really think about all that has been missed out on over that period of time, because even technology and everything changes over 1 year, let alone 15. 10. That's a long time to have to adjust.
And just think for just to add some context to that last statement, right? Eric and Ronell are on the lower end of people within our group. We've got people within our group with 30 plus years, 20 plus years of incarceration.
Wow.
Right? When they left, it was Lay's, Doritos, and Better Made. Now we got wrap snacks and all kind of different flavors of snacks that never existed when they left.
Wow. But you're right. You're right. That is amazing to even think about. I'm overwhelmed right now, kind of lost for words. Like, wow, you know, so many different choices. Things have changed. Technology has changed, let alone having a smartphone.
My goodness.
You know, sometimes the people you're speaking of with 30 plus years, we weren't even using cell phone technology back then, computers. So to get out and say, hey, well, you could put in your application for exoneration online. I'm like, online, what is that?
Exactly.
You know, they don't even understand what all of that means. So hats off to you and your organization for even doing the little things, the things that we would even take for granted. That you are magnifying and really, really understanding the frame of mind that these individuals are in. And I think that is another failure in the system, not to give mental health support and all of these other supports. Even when they know you're about to come home, they can start giving you classes. When you step out, you should automatically have your driver's license. You should have your social security card, your birth certificate. All of that should be packaged and just put in your hands when you step out of there, because you can't. If they say go to the library and get online if you don't have a computer, you can't get a library card without an ID. So I can't just go to the library and get on the internet. I don't have an ID. So I can't get a library card. So all of those necessities, they should have prepared for you when you leave, because we are talking about the government. It would take nothing for them to get that together and have that ready for you, but they don't give a damn.
It's time to remove the barriers. I don't know if you remember, Valerie, we met with Michigan Department of Corrections, Kyle Kamansky, Mama Z, we all met.
I remember.
I want to say it was back in 2019, and just looking at it, and now here we sit in 2022 still fighting for the same thing. Like, it does not take a rocket scientist to understand what the needs are when folks are coming home. We already know what the needs are for returning citizens in general, but in my opinion, when you are dealing with somebody who is wrongly incarcerated, the red carpet needs to be rolled out when they come home. How dare you offer services, same level services as those who have offended. Now, again, whether somebody is offended or not, the services are still needed, but we need to start doing what we need to do to uplift our exonerees, because it's just an injustice that they have suffered for so many years, and their families. It's just so much to think about that we should be lifting that burden off of them.
Absolutely. You know, and stop it with the loopholes. If you're supposed to get them $50,000 a year for every year they were incarcerated, let's just say that. And then you find all of these reasons not to give it to them. At a minimum, you can reimburse for all of JPAYs.
That part.
You know, look at all of the money that's been spent with people accepting phone calls and all of these other things. There should be a check cut with all the proper identification that they need to survive day one. As soon as they step outside of that gate.
And they can do it now, because now what happened during COVID, we all got checks during COVID, okay? And it came right to our bank accounts. Right? The government can get money to you when they want to. Mm-hmm. And so we've just got to have the proper push, which means we've got to be talking to our legislators, and we've got to come together. We've got to do it together, because when we are together, we are extremely powerful.
That's right. And they have it.
Yep.
They have it.
Yep.
So we just got to, like Trisha say, push. Thank you, Ken, for sharing. Is there anything else you would like to say to wrap up your segment?
No, I think we covered quite a bit here.
Yeah.
He's a man of many words, so don't let it.
Well, thank you for sharing. And you know, though, it is an emotional conversation to have. So I don't take lightly you being here and reliving this experience that you have and talking about it, you know, over and over and over. Yeah. So I truly appreciate you being here and sharing as much as you have shared. We definitely salute and respect you. So we're going to take a break, and we are going to hear the Wrongful Conviction Tribute by Paris Jones, and we'll be right back.
I am a free mind, once fine-tuned to deception, which caused conflict in my perception. Therefore, there are elements of this free mind I feel as if I don't share. Your soul will be deprived. You're judging me, looking too deep with your eyes. I'm just like you, divergent by design, on the rise, gasping for air, praying this wrongful conviction rally opens some eyes. And with this free mind, I come in attempts to heal the brokenhearted, to encourage those with no faith not to give up what you've started. Do you believe you will no longer travel a pipeline that has kept you confined to a crime you did not commit? Please pay attention as my ink spills inside what you feel. Then you will see. In the midst of defeat, your adversaries will take a seat. Unknown ambition will knock you off your feet. See, they have seduced your innocence. But you will overcome and win this. You will achieve what they said you wouldn't. You will receive what they said you shouldn't. These brothers and others, we've been standing with your family since they said you couldn't. Wrongful conviction seems to be an addiction with no cure. But with this pure heart I say, you are the hidden treasure of this life. You are worth every bit of this fight. I once stood still, allowing life to get the best of me. Then that is where I saw a quest in me to explore why my brothers and sisters are not free. Why have they been forced to be blinded where their eyes can't see, to the finish line where they could claim their victory? No more misery, no more pain, free from shackles and free from chains that once refrained them from their innocence and freedom. Today I stand and I say, please free them.
All right. So we have another nice looking exoneree that I'm going to give Trisha the pleasure of introducing.
Yes. This is an extreme pleasure just to have you both here and have Linda on waiting and Ronell with us. So just appreciate you all today. This is my dear brother, Eric Anderson. Eric Anderson touched down in 2019 from his wrongful conviction that was back in 2010, right?
That's correct.
So you did exactly 9 years.
Yep, 9 years, 2 days.
9 years and 2 days. Well, we are so grateful that you are home. You've been building. I think the first time I met you was at Pastor Devison's church. Pastor Devison, for those that don't know, has an organization, ambassadors group. The ambassadors group, when the exonerees touch down, Pastor Devison wraps around and tries to bring services in as well. And so Pastor Devison had a service that I met Eric at back in 2019. So thanks for coming on with us today, brother.
Well, thank you for having me, Trisha.
Most definitely. So let's talk a little bit about your case. Can you give us just some, and again, I know that this is so heavy to be bringing back up and to be reliving and talking about. So again, thank you both for doing that. But can you share for those that might not know just a little bit about your case and what kind of happened?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And like, it's all about spreading awareness.
Yeah.
That's the only way things gonna change.
Right.
In this atmosphere that we're dealing with.
Right.
2010, I got charged and convicted of armed robbery, 2 armed robberies, 1 assault with intent to rob while armed, and felony firearm. Some of the things surrounding the case was an individual got robbed and pistol whipped, and his friend got robbed on 7 Mile in Southfield, whereas at 3 in the morning. Whereas at the same time, I was downtown. Downtown Detroit, being a victim to I got shot.
Oh my goodness!
I got shot in Coney Island. Wild, ain't it?
Hold on, wait. I'm sorry. We gotta.
You know that?
No, I did not know that. So I gotta unpack that. You mean to tell me?
You know me for all this time. I ain't know that.
Your alibi is that you got shot? What else did you have to do to prove that you wasn't there?
I got shot.
Man, I smell that shit they was stepping in all the way over here.
9
years later.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so mad. Y'all, excuse me in radio land. I'm trying to stop cussing, but that's some bull.
Well, I ain't trying to stop. That's some bullshit.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't know that most important detail.
I don't know.
Oh, my Lord. Wow. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so I got shot downtown Detroit. On camera, by the way. Like I said, I got shot in the Coney Island. So, yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh.
Yeah, on camera.
This is crazy. Somebody need to be locked up behind
this
that
is what
conviction.
I'm saying, for real. This is what I'm saying, and I'm really upset.
That's crazy.
How in the world could you have some evidence like that and you do 9 years? And then when they let you out, they be like, oh, clap, 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 we did a good job. No, you did your job from this injustice. Okay, I'm sorry.
Nah, that's just crazy right there.
So anyway, I got locked up, arrested 10 days later. After the guy had got wind that I had got shot. So anyway, I got shot downtown. I didn't go to Detroit Receiving Hospital. I got shot on my foot. It was late at night. My friend that was with me, I said, just take me to Sinai Grace. I live a couple blocks from Sinai Grace. Same time, the guy got robbed, pistol whipped. He went to Sinai Grace. Didn't see me, seen one of my friends there. He kind of questioned, like, okay, why is this guy here? You know what I'm saying? So days later, he found out that I had got shot and put 2 and 2 together that my friend was up there to visit me, in which he thought that we became the perpetrators. You know, on the 10th day after the crime happened, he rewrote his statement because, you know, of course, on the day of the crime, these individuals are unknown. These guys had on masks, no way of telling who did this to me. I just know I got robbed. The 10th day, he know names, faces, and all kind of information. upon me getting questioned by the police officers, I told them, I don't know nothing about this crime. I was downtown Detroit. I was victim to a shooting. They then did the investigation. Oh, he also said, well, if you got shot, where you say you got shot at, what you have on, because it's going to be a camera. I told him everything I had on. On the video I seen, I was not able to see my face. However, Trishay, do you know what you had on 10 days ago?
No.
Valerie, you know what you had on 10 days ago?
Absolutely not.
Hell no, you don't know what you had on 10 days ago. You don't know what you had on yesterday.
I was just going to say,
Right, so if I was able to tell them everything I had on. Because why? Because something happened to me that was crazy 10 days prior. So
traumatic.
of course I'm gonna remember that.
Right.
He like, all right, he went about his business, said he gonna do his investigation. He seen that it checked out. However, I was still sent to the county jail. Fast forward months later, I go to trial. No. Fast forward months later, they offered me a plea. My plea was probation. You think I'm gonna take that after what I just told y'all?
No.
I ain't taking that. I'd be a fool to take that, right? 2 months later, I go to trial. Jury trial. Lori don't produce the videotape. Okay.
Wait. When you said, let me back up there. I'm sorry. You said the lawyer, meaning the prosecutor?
No,
or the lawyer, your lawyer?
My defense attorney.
Oh, which was a public defender or paid?
Yeah, was a public defender.
Okay, so the prosecutor's office. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so
they all in the same office.
Yeah, say something happened. Long story short, trial maybe like 3-4 days. In the trial, jury found me guilty. I don't know how the jury found me guilty. Like, I've been questioning juries ever since.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell is on my jury?
Thank you.
But I know who was on my jury because these are people that I chose. People that had gun license, ambulance, people with good jobs, police officers. Like, I thought I chose the right, responsible individual to put 2 and 2 together. If an individual, I don't know who owns firearms, but if you shoot yourself, I got shot in the foot. If you shoot yourself in the foot, you got to think, you got to question, like, where the bullet going to go at? 10 times out of 10, it's going to go to the top of your foot somewhere. Not coming in through the right side of my foot and coming out through the bottom left of my foot. Like, it's impossible for me to do this unless I hold my foot up to the gun and then shoot myself. So it came from an angle, which was, I couldn't have did no way, shape, or form. So it's like, I thought I had individuals on my jury with common sense, but I guess they missed that fact.
Common sense is not common.
So then I went through a phase recently where I got selected, paperwork for the jury. I was kind of like, do I want to do it? Do I not? But I came to determination I was going to do it.
Yeah,
just so I can see what transpired in the jury room.
Yeah.
Just so I can get the process of it. Because I still don't know how I was found guilty. Fast forward, guilty verdict come down. I'm sentenced to 15 to 22 years. Yeah, that was my harsh reality for being a victim. So now I get shot 7 months prior. I spent all this time in the county jail. And then at the end of it, I'm sentenced to 15 to 22 years.
2 things I want to point out here, what you just said.
Okay.
Jury duty. Jury duty is so important. All of us, and I'm going to say all of us because a great number of us ignore the jury duty things that they send to our house and all of that. But when we say a jury of our peers, we got to understand what that really looks like. Who are my peers? Right? And it's just such a hard process when you say to pick a jury, like, you don't know these people, like what they think, it's such a hard process. But if we are not in the jury pool, then we can't be picked for jury duty. And why do we have so many injustices happening? Because we got a jury of people that don't understand cultural competence. They don't understand the black community. They don't understand the criminal justice system. And people are just making decisions based on a theory or a narrative that the prosecutor's office puts up. which I don't understand how in the world. Now, my second thing, when you said somebody was at Sinai Grace, you mean the officer? So the officer, who was at the friend, the victim,
the victim of the real crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the victim was at the Sinai Grace because he had got pistol whipped.
Okay.
So he was bleeding somewhere.
So he just was trying to put.
Yeah, and you know that's understandable being a victim.
Right.
You see
yeah.
a familiar face in the same hospital at 3 a.m. You gonna think something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, but if it don't make sense, it don't make sense. Don't try to tie two and two together. Then the police and the prosecutor office, they just went ahead with it. Like, so let me back up. When I got arrested, like I said, I got arrested 10 days later. I'm on my way to a friend's house, maybe like 5 miles away. I'm riding passenger. I'm on crutches. I'm not driving or nothing like that. And then they come, traffic stop. They don't go to the driver's door. They come right to my door. So they have been stalking the house.
Okay.
They come right to my door. Mr. Anderson, come with us. You the guy that robbed somebody and shot yourself in the foot. This was the police officer say as soon as he snatched me out the car. So it was already founded that that's the story, and they going with the whole way to the finish line. And that's what it was.
Wow, that is reprehensible. Reprehensible. So, what did they end up? How did you went with the Innocence Project? Those are the ones that took your case to exonerate you?
Yeah, the Michigan Innocence Clinic.
Okay, so what did they say went wrong with that investigation? Did they go back to the fact that like he got shot?
Yeah, so
and he was at the hospital because he got shot?
Yeah.
Which is something that was known from the beginning?
Correct.
Crazy.
This stuff is just, I'm telling you, it's so heavy. I could just cry right now because it's like, stuff like that don't have to happen. If there are videos, if there are tapes, I'm thinking about the Lawson case right now. The Lawson case still sitting there after his co-defendant is out, right? The co-defendant been out since March of 2020, still sitting there with videotapes that were produced in the second trial of the co-defendant to show that everything that the witnesses said was a lie. So why in the world is this individual still sitting there? All of these things don't make no sense when there are videos to prove or evidence. Another case, the guy was at home with his daughter sick, and they messed around and coerced the baby mama so bad, she was like, well, I don't know, he could have left. Well, what you mean he could have left? And then because she switched her story up, they went as far as convicting that girl of perjury, and she had to do 9 months in the county jail, all due to this wrongful conviction, all due to officers wanting to spin narratives and scenarios the way that they want to spin them. It's just
they need to get rid of that qualified immunity. That person who was on all of your cases, they need to be in jail.
Yeah.
Let that time be away from their family.
Exactly.
Let them go through what you have been through. But because they have that immunity, they can make all the mistakes that they want, and it doesn't even matter that someone's life is at stake.
Not even mistakes. They can operate in high levels of misconduct and know that they are covered when they're actually sitting there as criminals within this justice system.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, you got people that rise to the ranks of the prosecutor's office. You got people that become judges. You got people that become professors and, very high positions in all different levels of criminal justice system.
And no one says they're sorry. No one shows any remorse. It's sort of, oh, well, and on to the next one. And it's just so sad.
It is. I appreciate you.
You know how it's victim and offender, some programs for victim and offender for the offender to apologize to the victim.
Right.
I think that that should be something established as well. Will it happen? Probably no. But like your prosecutor, your judge, your public defender,
the police, everybody that has something to do with
everybody on the case get with you and like tell you where they messed up at and apologize. Like that'd be something. And I just thought it right now.
Yeah, to be made whole.
Yeah, they would. But then they'll be so afraid. But you weren't nervous or scared when you were doing what you were doing. At a minimum, if you don't give them jail time, they should no longer be able to be a prosecutor, a judge.
That's right.
A lawyer. They should just be barred from any
Yeah,
of those
that part.
occupations forever, even though they deserve to go to jail. But if you're not going to do that, they still should not be able to practice in that capacity as a judge, as a prosecutor, as
That's
a
right.
police officer, as a detective. They should be barred from that occupation for life.
That's right.
And that's simple, since you don't want to give them the jail time because they proved themselves ineffective.
Yep. Whew.
So how do we get that law on the books?
Shit, that's gonna be a hard one.
No, you know what? I'm gonna tell you
it's
something.
not.
It's not
You
as
know what
hard as we
happens?
think. Go
You know
ahead.
what happens?
What?
It starts at the voting poll.
Thank you. That's all I was getting ready to say.
It starts
And
with
we
the
don't
people
need
that we
them.
elect to these positions because that's where the moral compass begins.
That's right.
The culture and the organizational structure starts at the top. When people at the top don't care, the people at the bottom don't care. When you breed a mindset of nothing's going to happen, you continue to perpetuate the behavior that we're seeing
That's right.
repeatedly
That's
over
right.
and over and over again. It starts at the voting poll.
Yeah.
So when
Absolutely.
people ask that question, what can we do? How can we help? Vote.
Vote.
That's the number one thing that changes this narrative going forward.
Collective
Absolutely.
voting power. Your vote, people say, oh, my vote don't matter. Guess what? Your one little vote don't matter. You're right. But collectively together, all of our votes, voting for the same thing. And let me say this. We don't need to wait on legislators to introduce legislation. We can draft up a bill, draft up the language, take it to the clerk's office, get it approved to get signatures, get as many signatures as we can, and get it on the ballot ourselves. I'm going to tell y'all something. Ain't nobody coming to save us. Nobody is coming to save us. If that was the case, we would have been saved a long time ago. We've got to do it. We've got to take back control. And our voice and our vote are equally powerful. One without the other is not going to work.
I agree. So when you going to draw that bill up, sis?
Ooh, it's coming.
Draw it up and we'll just pound the pavement and get those signatures. Eric, is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, if you're interested in the discussion, support the organization of honorees.
Yeah.
You can also come to the Wrongful Conviction Summit, which Shashay gonna talk about later. It's in Ypsilanti on Saturday. So
Come on, come on, come on.
Yes. So we're going to jump to a musical break and listen to a song that is My Black Man National Anthem by my cousin Millard Thomas Jr. called As a Black Man. And we'll be right back.
I'm just trying to do the best that I can as a strong black man. Yeah. Here I stand as a strong black man, having done all I can to please my fellow man. I don't understand why that knife is in your hand. After doing all I can as a strong black man, I'm gonna take my stand as a black man. I will do the best that I can as a black man. I stand on my own as a black man. I'm gonna sing my song. Oh, this is me. So hear my plea. I'm a young black man, down on my knees. I say this world is wrong, and we don't have too long. I'm gonna take this stand as a strong black man. I feel the rain falling down on me. If you could see what's on my mind, oh, you will see. Everyone would be more kind. Everyone would be happy. I'm gonna keep on my goal. I won't let it go. As a black man, gonna take my stand. As a black man, I'ma do the best that I can. Oh, as a black man, I stand on my own. As a black man, I'm gonna sing my song.
You were listening to As a Black Man by my cousin Millard Thomas Jr. of Run of the Mill Productions. You're also listening to the Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. And we are on the eve of the third annual Wrongful Conviction Summit. I have the founder of Survivor Speaks here with me, Trisha Duckworth. And we are going to talk to another victim of the criminal injustice system.
Yes.
We want to welcome to the show Linda Sturmer. Say hello to everyone, Linda.
Hi, everyone. How are you tonight?
Hey, sis.
Hey.
We are so happy to have each and every one of you, and Linda, especially you, joining us again. And you're still fighting.
Yeah.
So tell our listeners a little bit about your story.
Well, first of all, I want to say I always love following those gentlemen in anything I speak at. They are such a great group of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My story. In the early 2000s, mid-2000s, my husband and I were building our dream home. It got to a certain point and we moved into it with our children and continued working on it, living in it unfinished. And a fire broke out in January 2007. My husband, I believe he stayed in to try and fight the fire. And when he got out, he was badly burned. Through panic, through the smoke, through the fog, through everything, a lot of things happened that I won't go into detail right now about, but I was arrested 2.5 years later, June 2009, and went to trial in January 2010. I was convicted based on an opinion testimony by a fire investigator who has changed his story at 4 different under oath proceedings 4 different times. This investigator made subjective opinions, which is not allowed by experts. I had a prosecutor who told lies to the jury that went uncorrected. I had a trial attorney who made no objections to any of this whatsoever. And I was sentenced to life without parole. I began my sentence early in 2010, and I was court appointed an appellate attorney who told me that the issues I wanted her to raise were weak and insignificant. She fought the issues she wanted to fight, which amounted to a judge's discretional decision. Discretion is like an opinion.
Right.
You can't fight that. So after my losses there, I decided I needed to learn how to represent myself. I stayed in the law library as much as they would allow me. I begged for extra time. The more I was there, the more women came to me asking me for help with their own things. The more that I helped others, the more I learned about the law. The more I learned about the law, the more I was able to help myself. And in July of 2018, I was tired. I had been granted a hearing, and my court-appointed attorney, because I asked for a court-appointed attorney since I was granted a hearing, and by law, one has to be provided. The judge gave me an attorney who never showed up to my court hearing, and so I lost by default. I asked for a substitution of appellate counsel so that I could go forward to the next step, and the judge denied me. I had to file a grievance against the attorney, which I won, and he was given a minor slap on the wrist and told he had to attend a class. But I also had to put in a grievance against the judge with the Judicial Tenure Commission in order to get the judge to appoint me someone else. Because at the stage of a 6500, which is a post-conviction appeal, you are not guaranteed the right to effective assistance of counsel, only guaranteed assistance of counsel if you are in a proceeding that warrants it. So I was granted another attorney. That attorney was not notified by the court for 3 weeks on a 5-week deadline. That attorney chose to dump 3 of my issues that I had fought so hard to forward in my appeal, and he arbitrarily decided, without any input from me or my knowledge, to abandon those issues. When I received a copy of my appeal that had gone in, I was mortified, and I began working furiously to supplement. I put my issues in. I went to the Supreme Court and I lost again. And then my family was able to hire an attorney to represent me at the next step. I was granted an evidentiary hearing. This attorney came, and at that evidentiary hearing, I was told that I would be released. However, when the judge set me for a bond hearing, and I came to that bond hearing, the state of Michigan Attorney General's office told the judge that because he had not drafted the opinion in my case yet, that they would be picking me up outside the courthouse and putting me back into prison. The judge explained to my family and myself that he apologized, and while everyone expected me to go home that day, he was going to have to send me back to the prison until he finished my opinion. And he promised me that I would be home before the holidays. December 20th of 2018, I was taken to court. The judge released me from court that day. However, because there are certain laws and rules about the way that releases are supposed to be conducted, properly I should have been sent back to the prison and waited for my paperwork to be cleared through Lansing. However, The judge ordered the 2 transport officers to go call whomever they needed to call immediately, because no one was leaving his court building until they had it cleared to release me from there.
Wow.
And he told them, if I find out that you've gone outside my courtroom and arrested this woman and taken her back, I'm a federal court judge. I know my rights, and you will be seeing my court from a different angle.
Wow.
So it was all of a couple hours, and they finally got authority to allow me to go home from the court that day.
Wow.
But I just can't believe twice you disagreed with what the attorney was going to present, and you had no rights. They just went forward with what they wanted to say. Who the hell does that?
A lot of them.
And you can't object, so you just got to sit there while they say. I would have been like, hold on. Even if they put me in contempt or whatever, I don't agree. And you don't even have the opportunity to say, I don't agree with what they're saying about me. That is crazy as hell.
I raised my hand once in a hearing to say something, and the judge told me, you have an attorney here, Miss Sturmer. Your attorney will do all the speaking.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow. Wow.
So, subsequent to my release, I met Trisha. And
so I must have met you the month or a few days after you were released, then. Is that right? Wow.
Yes. Yes, you just gave me goosebumps thinking back on this.
Wow.
But Trisha has allowed me to have a voice in advocacy. Trisha opened up that opportunity for me.
Aww.
I love you, sis.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
I love you. And I thank you when you speak about advocacy, I just want to thank you for, there's not one time that I've called you that you have not answered the call. And it's so funny, like I just texted her, I said, hey, send me your Cash App. She was like, I will not take any money from you. But I just want you to know I thank you too for all of the countless times that you have worked with us around the Women's Huron Valley Prison, the advocacy work there, just anything that we have ever, I mean, even for the summit, we grabbed Linda in, to run a segment or to do a segment with Mama Ziva. And we are just so excited and just thankful because you have been able to take your circumstance that is not even over yet. Right. And I think this is the beautiful part about all of you here today. You've been able to take your circumstances and what you've been through and build on it and turn it into something that is broad and helping so many other people. So thank you all so much for all the advocacy work that you're doing.
Well, people told me, and people still tell me on Facebook every now and then when they decide they're feeling some ugly sort of way, that God put you there for a reason. No, God did not put me in prison. Man has been given free will.
That part.
And man exercised his authority over me, over Kenneth, over Eric, in spite of the evidence. And I say in spite of the evidence for my case as well, because the evidence has been found.
Yeah.
We have evidence now that we did not know existed.
Wow.
We know evidence has been destroyed, and we know evidence is still being withheld because the prosecutor stated that they were going to continue to withhold it on the record. But in spite of these things, God used that time while I was in prison to show me things. And I can't ignore all the blessings that he's given me and brought me home. I can't ignore the things I've seen and the things I experienced and the women that I experienced them with.
Wow.
So God gave me an opportunity to learn. And I have an obligation to speak on it.
Wow. You said something that was so profound, and I think we can even relate this to COVID because they're probably saying, oh, God didn't know. No, God just knows how to turn lemons in the lemonade, right? And that's exactly what it is. You all have been able to take these wicked, evil, satanic, demonic circumstances and do some good, you know. And I think too, one thing that I see about all of you all's cases is that, and we're going to highlight this too at the summit, is that a lot of people see, you know, the freedom networks and all that, but they don't understand all of the work that you all had to put in, countless hours, like you said, in the law library, you helping other women, these fellas doing what they do for their case to, you know, just so somebody could look at their case. And so I think that people need to understand that you all took that into your own hands. Again, we're right back at ain't nobody coming to save us. We got to learn how to do the work so that we can help save ourselves. And I think you all are a true testament to that.
We thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Will you be at the summit on Saturday?
I will.
Yeah, Linda's actually going to be doing one of the segments, Women Who Are Wrongly Convicted. As we all know, our women are not being uplifted the way that they should be when it comes to these wrongful convictions. As a matter of fact, and I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody other than myself, because I received a list the other day that had 15 names on it of exonerees or claims of innocence. And some of those names I did not know, you know, and I just want to make it my business to work harder to uplift, you know, the women and what's going on inside of Women's Huron Valley, because let's just say right now, it is a house of horrors in there. And any and everybody who has any type of legislative power, voting power, or any form of money, which that is power as well, we need all hands on deck when it comes to the efforts that we do at Women's Huron Valley. Because I'll tell you what, when people know that somebody's watching them, they move different.
They do.
They move different. And so we cannot let what is going on there continue to happen and we not say anything about it. And we have to make sure that we are uplifting the women who are wrongly convicted. And so Linda and Mama Ziva are going to take that segment, and then we will have a tribute to the women as well.
Wonderful.
May I say something, Trisha?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
The number of men who have been exonerated in the state of Michigan versus the number of women is greatly disproportionate. If you figure the number of inmates, exonerees, that have been released in the state of Michigan, we have 161 exonerees in 2021. Michigan tied California for having the third largest number of exonerees.
Wow.
That's exorbitant. That number is horrible.
Yeah.
But with having, I'm looking a number up right now, with having that number of men versus women, 161 men and women released, the percentage is greatly significant there, because the population of men is 92% of Michigan inmates, roughly, give or take a percentage point. The number of women then is 5 to 8%.
Wow.
Why aren't there more exonerees that are women being released?
Yeah.
Why aren't there more exonerees that are women being assisted by the Conviction Integrity Unit?
Yeah. I think those are reasonable questions that we need answers to.
I just think that those numbers are so disproportionate, so terribly disproportionate.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, for sharing your testimony.
Yeah.
We love you
We definitely love you,
appreciate you. So, where do we go from here? Well, we had a few ideas out there, some apologies. You know, Eric was like, hey, you know, if you could just say you're sorry, just like the victims meet their perpetrators and have that opportunity, that could be a start. ensuring that individuals have all of the proper credentials, ID, and other documentation that is required for them to start their lives should be in their possession. That's a start. Then you get to the bigger pieces of the pie, getting rid of qualified immunity, which probably will never occur. But if you have individuals who you know have withheld evidence, performed their jobs improperly or whatever, they should be removed from those positions so that they would never be able to harm anyone else. You do it with sex offenders. Whether you know they are guilty or not, you put them on this list so you can so-called protect them from being harmed from anyone else. It should be the same on your side of the house. Once those people are deemed corrupt, they should be on a list. They should no longer be able to be a judge, a prosecutor, anything in law enforcement. They should be on a list and never be able to perform that job again. Period.
Yeah.
What else do you have to say? Trisha, Eric?
I want to hear from my brothers and my sister here. What do you all think? Where do we go from here?
Let Ronell tell us.
Ronell gone.
Oh, he gone?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Accountability definitely has to be definitely has to be one of the most important aspects.
I don't hear you.
Gotta pull your
Is
mic
your mic
closer.
on? Because I don't hear you. Okay, pull it up closer to you if you can. There we go.
There you
You
go.
on now, yep.
So accountability definitely has to be one of the most important changes that we make.
Yeah.
The organization of exonerees, we are firm believers in there's a difference between doing something on purpose and making a mistake.
Right.
And a mistake we can learn from, we can move on. But there are several instances throughout this country, not just in Detroit, not just in Washington County, not just in Michigan. There are instances throughout this country where public officials intentionally did something to harm someone or wrong someone or send someone to prison, and there's no accountability for that.
Yeah.
In those instances, we must, as a society, as a community, as a people, make sure that that does not continue to happen. In every other industry in the world, besides guns and the criminal justice system, there's an investigation when masses of people get hurt.
Yeah.
A plane falls out the sky, they investigate for months trying to figure out how to stop this from happening again.
Yeah.
Right? A bridge falls down, they investigate for months trying to figure out how to make sure this doesn't happen again. But you can send innocent people literally to their death,
Yeah.
and there's no consequence for that. That's not right. It's not fair. There's no justice in that. We have to be better at accountability.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with accepting responsibility, and we don't have to get a law to change that, right?
Yeah.
Back to voting again. The people we vote into these positions can change that.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court doesn't have to tell us right from wrong. When someone below you, when someone underneath you does something that's wrong, you hold them accountable.
That's right.
In every other job in the world, people are held accountable when they do stuff intentionally to harm the company or the reputation of the company, except in criminal justice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Football players make multi-million-dollar contracts a year.
Yeah.
And the moment they do something in their home and it's exposed, they're dropped from that contract.
Yes, they are.
But yet, a prosecutor or a police officer can do something that makes the entire industry look bad. That person can come back and restore themselves to multi-million-dollar lawsuits. What happens? The insurance company pays the claim and they go right on as if nothing happens.
That's
That
the
officer
problem.
retires with his pension and everything goes away. We cannot continue on like this.
Yeah.
We can't.
I agree.
And there are too many cases of, you said several. It's several 100,000. So many cases of this misconduct, right? And again, like I said earlier, and just like my brother said, accountability is not a bad thing. Because guess what? If it was you would want to hold somebody accountable. And I think for me, that's the thing that I would like to see. Where do we go from here? Being proactive. We all need to learn how to be proactive and stop being so reactive. Understanding that don't wait. Don't wait. While you see and hear these stories, while you hear what is going on, join in this fight. Don't wait until it happens to you. This is an all hands on deck moment. It's this all hands on deck approach. We need everybody from everywhere, from every walk of life. We did Are You an Activist? And you know why we did that? Because everybody thinks about activism about the bullhorn on the front line. That is a small fraction of activism. It is about the back work and all the other hard work that needs to be done, including that, because I don't want to minimize that either, because it's important. But everybody has their role and their place. And when you say accountability, that's what this summit is about, Operation Accountability. We have to stop this.
You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, Linda, did you have something?
I loved the analogy that Kenneth just gave about a bridge or a plane. But to go one step further in that, if you look at the number of lives that would be lost in a plane crash and the amount of time and money that they spend investigating that plane crash, look at the number of lives that are lost due to wrongful convictions. Astronomically higher than a plane crash. And yet so little value is put into investigating how this happens to us.
Absolutely. You know, they don't value your lives anyway, but especially the life of a black man. So that's half the battle right there. They don't value you to begin with.
Yeah, or a woman.
Or anybody else once you cross into that threshold.
Yeah.
Well, as always, there is never enough time. And we have to close this show out. So, Trisha, do you have anything that you need to say before we get out of here?
Oh, I didn't realize we'd have been talking. You know what? Let's run that commercial right quick, Marquise, so we can see what is going on October the 29th in Ann Arbor, y'all.
Survivors Speak presents their third annual Wrongful Conviction Summit, October 29th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Washtenaw Community College in the Morris Lawrence Building, 4800 East Huron River Drive, Ann Arbor, Michigan, 48105. The theme of this year's summit is Operation Accountability. Please register for this free event on Eventbrite or text 734-252-6075. This event is sponsored by the United Way of Washtenaw County and Washtenaw Community College's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
All right.
So all roads are leading to Washtenaw Community College in their Morris Lawrence building. That address is 4800 East Huron River Drive. That is in Arbor, Michigan, 48105. We're asking everybody to register, please, on Eventbrite. However, this is a free event and it is open to the public. The only reason why we want your information, because we want to feed you. And so we want to get a number of people. But if you don't register, please still feel free to come on out. And we are running 5 segments in the part that we're adding in this year, because with our summits, people come, they sit down, and they listen, they hear the great speakers, and then they go home. But we want to get the community's voice. We want to hear from the community during this process. So we will have our segments as usual. And after each segment, we will have a community talk back at their tables. And the community will get to talk to each other, bring up ideals about each segment. And then we will have them fill out surveys. So not only are they talking to each other, they can give us that information and we can bring it back, aggregate that data down, and see how we can best come together as a community and do the work. Nothing for us without us.
Well, thank you, and we hope to see you all there. Well, you have listened to another episode of The Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, where I don't try to spill the tea or make you feel dazed like you had a shot of cheap liquor. I just want you to see things from another perspective, mine. And we are out of here. Tune in next week, same time, same channel.